Hello everybody, I am going to try something new on my channel today. I am going to start speaking to you about different aspects of history that I find super interesting. Because as I was reviewing my YouTube plans, I was thinking about how all scrapbooking YouTube channels are kind of the same. All of them have a process video that, somebody does a voiceover for and tells you what they're doing in the video. So I thought, rather than doing that all the time, every now and then, maybe once or twice a month, I'm going to create a video that discusses something topically relevant to what I'm scrapbooking, but also is just a little bit different. So I hope you like this. Today I'm going to be talking about Buckingham Palace. Surprise, surprise! Because I am scrapbooking a large photo of Buckingham Palace, which is in London, if you didn't know. So Buckingham Palace is the administrative headquarters of the British monarchy. It is also the London residence of the British monarchy. And by British monarchy, I mean the Queen and currently Prince Philip. So the crown, the British crown. Originally, it was called Buckingham House, and it was built for the Duke of Buckingham. It was a large townhouse, and this large townhouse now serves as the core of today's palace. The house was built in 1703 on on a piece of land that was held privately, so private ownership, for 150 years. In 1761, King George III bought it as a private retreat for Queen Charlotte. So the palace that you see today is not what the palace always looked like. During the 19th century, the three wings were added around the townhouse. So the part that you see at the front of the palace is called the public facade, and it was not added on until, between 1847 and 1850. The public facade also houses the balcony that we see the royal family appear on for many occasions. Prior to that, what was on that site was a ceremonial entranceway called the Marble Arch. This arch was based off of Roman arches that you will still find today in Rome, of course. And it was also designed to look like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. If you would like to view the Marble Arch today, you will still find it in central London if you get off at the tube station, aptly named Marble Arch. It was moved to that location when they were doing a widening, so like a street widening. It kind of sits on its own little island, if you will, in where it is now. So the architects that built the three wings that we see was John Nash and Edward Bloor. John Nash was the principal architect until it was deemed that his designs were too costly for what they were willing to pay, and then Edward Bloor was hired to finish and take over. The palace didn't become the home for monarchs in London until Queen Victoria came to the throne in 1837. Prior to that, they stayed, mainly they stayed at Westminster Palace. But Westminster Palace did burn down, and I don't know if it was during Queen Victoria's time that it burned down or if it was before then. I forget. I should know, but I forget. Oh goodness, I already talked about that. So, as part of the palace itself, it has many amenities. So there are 775 rooms, and included in those amenities are a cinema, so a movie theater, a jeweler's workshop, a post office, a doctor's surgery, which I'm pretty sure is what we call in North America a doctor's office. I think doctor's surgery has a bit of a misnomer in outside of the UK. For us, I believe that's more akin to a doctor's office. When we think doctor's surgery, we think of being in hospital in an operating theater, which is, anyways. I will try to stick to North American, I guess, language, if that makes sense, as opposed to British language. However, I do know both. If you do have any questions, you could always ask me down below in the comments, and I will be happy to answer for you. Oh, I should also say that I am by no means an expert on these topics. The information that I do know comes from years of touring London. I've been to Buckingham Palace twice, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went twice. The first time I went, it was crazy busy because it's only open for a couple months out of the entire year. So when it is open, everybody goes. The first time I went in August in 2015, and it was ridiculously busy. The second time I went in September, and it was considerably less busy. It was a lot nicer to walk through. You cannot take photos in the palace itself, so any photos that I share on my YouTube channel will probably be of the outside, or postcards. I am fairly certain I bought postcards of the inside. So, and one of the other things the palace features is a pool. Now, I do remember that when Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, was pregnant with one of her children, I think maybe her second child, which is her daughter, I'm fairly certain there was a media report saying that she had been going to the palace to swim while she was pregnant. So those are some nice amenities they have there. However, I do feel that it is necessary to say that these figures are in the public eye. So if they were to go to a public swimming pool, it would be very awkward for them. It would be very much a spectacle. And I can see, how it would be nice to have those amenities like a cinema and a swimming pool available to them so that they can, have a semblance of normal life without creating a spectacle. So let's talk a bit about the palace's purpose. It is where all of the offices of the senior royal family is, with the exception of Charles, Camilla, and William and Kate. I believe they have their own offices elsewhere. But the rest of the senior families, such as Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth and the Princess Royal and the Duke of Essex, I think. Let me check. I didn't write that down. So let me check really quick. It's right here. Oh my goodness, I just had it. Now I can't find it. I can't find it now. No, it's gone. I have so many notes written down, but it's gone now. I will write it down below once I find it. So they do use Buckingham Palace as their offices. And also the palace is used for state events. So the big state events would be like state dinners, visits from other foreign heads of states. So typically when foreign heads of state come to pay a state visit to London, they will be entertained by the Queen. And they are typically invited to stay in the palace. in a suite of rooms, a rather large suite of rooms, according to the internet, called the Belgian Suite. So they are invited to stay in the palace with the Queen. It's very cool. The staterooms are open to the public in the summer, typically when the monarchy and the royal family moves to Balmoral for their summer holiday. Balmoral, as a side note, is a privately held residence, which is a nice segue into the fact that the palace is not owned by a private, as opposed to Balmoral and Sandringham. The palace is owned by the government, but held in right by the crown. Let me try and explain that a different way, just to make it clear. Essentially, the government owns the palace, but they allow the head of state, which is the monarch, so either a king or a queen, to hold it for their continued personal use. In exchange of that, the government is responsible for maintaining the palace. But there are profits that are made from tourism, etc., land ownership, other things. So the crown estate, all the profits from the crown estate go back to paying the government. So yes, the government pays for any maintenance up front, but they are reimbursed from crown profits. I think there's a bit of misinformation out there saying that the crown costs too much money and all of these things. I don't think what people realize is, yes, the crown does cost money up front. However, they do pay from the profits of tourism and land ownership and etc., etc. They do reimburse the government for those costs. So currently, the palace is undergoing a 10-year project of maintenance work that will extend the building's working life by about 50 years. So it is important to maintain these historical buildings and to keep them up to date, or else they become ruins, basically, but they also become not safe to reside in. So as part of those maintenance works that are going on currently, they are doing plumbing, heating, all the electrical wiring, as well as putting solar panels on the roof. So they are upgrading the palace to become more energy efficient, to run more efficiently, but also to be a safe place for continued works for the royal family. That project is estimated, you always have to read that estimated cost of £369 million. So I'm not really sure what that would be in US or Canadian dollars, but it's roughly about 1.5 times as much. So if you would like to do the math on that, you are more than welcome to. I am not going to. So that is all the information that I wrote down about Buckingham Palace. I am currently researching some more kind of like funny stories or tales from Buckingham Palace. So I will update you all with that in a future post. This was more of just a fun overview of Buckingham Palace. If you would like to know anything specifically about the palace, I did do a lot of research and I probably know the answer. And I would be more than happy to do another video on an in-depth part of the palace, such as the architecture or the inner workings of the palace, like how the staterooms function and what ceremonies and investitures are held at the palace, etc. So if you are interested in hearing more about that, you can leave me a comment down below in the comment section. I know that they are filtered, but I will read them and approve them. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.